Coming back to the code that was associated to this project, after seeing that configuration setting, now we look into the actual code and try to modify it according to our requirements. Now, as you can see that there are certain sections inside of the app.js file that is originally present inside of this application. As we can see, there are three different type of sections that are present inside of this application. One is the hello world scene AR, then there is the export default function, and then there is a styles variable that is simply declaring styles on this hello world scene. Now, what does this AR scene, and what is this? Why do we export the AR scene, and how do we export the AR scene? Where will we get this information from? For that, my friends, we will have to visit the documentation that is associated with the Viro React library. This will be provided to you in the links in the descriptions below also. But you can also do a Google search, Viro React docs. And here you go. You will arrive to the main landing page. Now over here you can see that there is a scene navigation tab in which you can see how to use the Viro AR scene and why to use the Viro AR scene navigator component. Now this is a very central component of the Viro React library because it is responsible for routing your application to different type of AR scenes that might be called or invoked based on some user's action, some events, some condition, or whatever you can think of. So these are like pages, like views that the React router, if you are working, if you have worked with React applications before, then you must have used the React router to navigate through your application, to navigate to different pages that you have created in your application. This is how the single page application SPA works basically without the reload functionality. So that kind of functionality can be thought of as an analogy to this type of component, Viro ARC Navigator, which we use to navigate between different type of scenes. And how to create a Viro scene? We create a Viro scene using the Viro AR scene component, which is nothing but just the page, the view that you are trying to create basically. Till now in our hello world text printer, as you can see, till now we are just printing initializing AR, but with time we will develop this application. We can put images, we can put boxes, we can put objects, we can put videos, we can put whatnot. Like you can put anything inside of this component through the use of props and through the use of other necessary configurations as well. So coming back to the code, now because the connection has been successfully established, now if I delete this, you'll see that the application will hang because hello world scene will not be found, because there is real-time update that is existing between the front end and the back end of the application. This is the benefit. Now whatever you do, no matter how small or how little, you can see it in development right by your side on a physical device, what the development is going on, how the changes are being made. So this is a very important and very interesting feature and very needed feature that will help you develop a very beautifully made application, beautifully planned application. You can think of anything and you can actually see the change that is happening and the errors that are occurring. So as you can see, there is nothing being returned because there is nothing inside of application right now. So now, as explained, we will first create a Viro AR scene navigator. So this is just a navigator component that we have created, and we will provide some props to this. So first prop will be initial scene, which scene to begin with basically. So over here it will have a scene field which will just take an initial scene component. This is just a function that we did not declare till now. Now we will declare this function so that it may be found by the compiler or the interpreter. Or so initial scene component. Now over here is where we will declare our Viro AR scene component, and inside of this Viro AR scene component, we will declare some Viro text. We will write some Viro text. Now this Viro text in itself will take certain type of props. Just before going into Viro text and how it works, just let's finish this. And after adding this initial scene prop, we can add one more prop, the style prop, to this Viro AR scene navigator, wherein we will provide our own style prop, which we have created, F1, just flex is equals to 1. And then we need to obviously return all of this from the default function, the component that we created. This needs to be returned from this function. So now the initial scene component is there, which is sending in Viro AR scene. Now this the AR scene is currently containing just some text. So this text needs some configuration. The configuration is provided in the form of props. This is how simple it is. Now Viro text can take three type of configurations. Text, what text you want to write, just provide it. The naming is so beautiful around these type of applications. I love it. It's so intuitive, it's so real and actual, it's so easy to just do it. So position is to be provided in a form of array. Now we are building a 3D application, so 3D means 3 dimensions, X, Y and Z. We will see some graphs onto how these dimensions actually, why do we care about these dimensions, like how does the stuff get rendered on the screen, like what dimensions it must follow, some kind of order of rendering, like where it must be rendered on your camera screen. So the initializing AR, where is it like rendered, what is the 0 position. For example, in 2D applications you'll just have an x-axis and a y-axis, but in a 3D application you'll have x-axis, y-axis and a z-axis. So the depth, the in-depth that you'll see inside the screen, like you can think of it as a plane as well. And then we can provide some style if you want. Font family, let's say font family is Arial. Excuse me. Font size is let's say 50. So this is the Viro text. Now as you can see, it is still showing us some error, that there is some error been occurring. So nothing was returned from the rendered function. This just means that we are not returning anything from this function, so we just need to return this component that we have created. And so now we can see that the errors have gone away, and I love the real-time update. So before looking at what we have, is because as you can see that the text is not visible right now, it's too close to the camera, it's too big for me to see. This is not just because of the size. Font size 50 is not too much, you get me. It's just this position field that's affecting everything. Now to understand this better, I would like to show you this scenes component. Scenes will tell you about the positioning. Now this graph is very important. Where will the camera be placed inside of the application by default? You get me? This is the graph that tells you that thing. For by default, when you type 000, your camera will be placed over here, and your text is also being rendered over here only. So it will be too close to it, and hence it is appearing so big. So what we need to do is we need to push the text away, little bit away from the camera, using the z-axis. So by default it is facing the negative z-axis, and if we push the text away along the z-axis, then obviously it will look a little bit, it will go a little bit far, so it will look more on the screen. Now coming back to the code, if we play around a little with this functionality that I have shown you just right now, the graph, that x, y and z axis, now how is it relevant to us? Now as you can see, this is too close to us. Now this is the z-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. Okay, x, y and z in the form of array. Now if you change this from 0 to -5 in live updation, it'll go a little bit far from you, my friends. It'll go a little bit far from you, my friends, because it has shifted along the negative z-axis when we provide -5 as input, my friends. Now if you want to change it over the y-axis, make it go a little bit above the 0, the axis, the origin point, then you can just type -2 over here, and then you can expect it to go, or +2 over here, and then you can expect it to go up, my friends. It will go up a little, my friends. As you can see, if we want to go make it go a little bit more up, it'll go a little bit more up, my friends, because we are providing it values according to its graph. We provided +2, it went a little bit up. We provided +5, it went a little bit more up. Now if you think that the placement is still not right and you want to change it along the x-axis by, let's say, a factor of 1, so this is the negative x-axis, so we need to provide value according to the negatives and positives, so we need to keep that in mind. So we want it to shift a little bit to the left, so what do? We just provide it a little bit to the left values, -1, and it will shift to that specific position, my friends. This is how simple it is to develop these type of applications. Next we will see how to put a cube inside of this, a 3D object inside of this, and then how to add some textures to it and how to control some animations that we do on it.